All right, guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how this even happened, but the Utah Jazz beat the Boston Celtics last game. Tonight, they beat the Sacramento Kings. Lauri Markkanen wasn't even playing. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. Sorry for the late night show. I just got back. I had watched the first half of the game, but my boy is playing Comp League basketball and I'm coaching his team. So I left at halftime, went and coached Comp League, came back and saw what had happened, and I wanted to watch the game because I can't talk about a game I didn't watch. Anyways, let's talk about the Kings before we talk about the Jazz. Before we keep going, though, if you're new here, like and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. Tell your friends about the show, too. That would be really nice. All right, let's change this. Let's talk about this game. Oh, man, it is late. So, and the Jazz won, which hurt my feelings, but at this point, it is what it is. We'll talk about it. Anyways, the Sacramento Kings were playing without Kevin Huerter, and I believe this was like their fourth game in 6 nights. So the Jazz had some advantages in this one. But I was not impressed by the Kings in the first quarter and first half of this game, and I think there's some things you got to be worried about if you're a Kings fan. I like to watch the Kings. I watched the Kings multiple times this year, and the offense is amazing, but the defense is not. And so when you have a night like tonight, and they got down by like 24 at one point in the first half, that's just hard to overcome. I don't care how good your offense is. That's just a deficit that is going to, especially if you're going against a team like the Jazz, who have a good defense themselves. Let me just open up NBA. Let's do this. We're going to do it live. It's late night. I want to do it. But you've got to just have a team that can actually get some stops here and there. And that's why I just, the Kings are going to be fun. And who knows, maybe in the playoffs, the Kings just go crazy and go to the Western Conference Finals. I guess there's a world where you could see it. The offense is just so good at times, especially with Kevin Huerter. So if you're a Kings fan, it's obvious tonight that Kevin Huerter would have made a big difference. And likely they win this game tonight if Kevin Huerter plays. Let's see. What am I doing? It's late. Offensive rating, the Sacramento Kings are number 1, obviously, and by a good margin. Look at that. By a full point per possession, or per however they figure this out. Defensive rating, though, is about where their offensive rating is. So it's a net rating of 2. This is tough because when you have Kevin Huerter not playing and you're based off of having just an absolutely electric offense, but then a defense at 116, I mean, where does that put them defensive rating? Let's see, they're at 116. So, I mean, they have a worse defense than the Jazz. By the way, this is the Walker Kessler effect. They're getting better. Makes me want you know what? Let's do something tonight since it's late night. Let's do last 10 games. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, NBA. Last 10 games, the Sacramento Kings have the number 2 offense. Look at that. Philadelphia. Joel Embiid is going crazy. But number 2 offense for the Sacramento Kings. Where are the Jazz? The Jazz are the 22nd offense in that span. That's interesting. Although after tonight, who knows? Maybe it went up. Although defensively, where do these guys sit? Utah's the number 16 defense. Say hello to Walker Kessler. Things are getting better. That's probably also a mix of Chris Dunn. It's an interesting jump for the Jazz. The Kings, on the other hand, still bad. In fact, worse. 27 defensively. So 122, but 119. So they're still kind of in that 2-3 net rating. They're actually a little bit better. But man, yeah, when you have Kevin Huerter not playing, that makes things tough. So anyways, Keegan Murray tonight had a nice night. 50% from the field, 6 for 14 from 3. He's just a solid NBA rotation player. And we'll see he's a rookie, so you can assume that he will just continue to get better. And I love Domantas Sabonis. He struggled tonight, though, with the Walker Kessler effect. He almost had a triple-double. You're a good player when you struggle and you're one assist away from a triple-double. But this right here, the 4 for 10, that's Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler gave him fits tonight. And so it's kind of interesting to think there are probably matchups that the Kings would like to avoid in the playoffs, ones where you're probably not playing a defensive center, like an elite defensive center, like a Walker Kessler, Anthony Davis. But can they play against someone like the Nuggets? And maybe Domantas Sabonis can just kind of take advantage of someone like Nikola Jokic or something like that. That would be kind of an interesting matchup. And De'Aaron Fox was fantastic tonight. I mean, look at these numbers, 37 points. He was just phenomenal. It's just the defense for this team is just not there. And so at some point they got to figure it out. And really the difference was probably just not having Kevin Huerter. It's late. Sorry, guys. Instead, you have Kessler Edwards who plays, who actually wasn't too bad. I mean, he was actually pretty solid for them. Malik Monk was not good. This is probably, this is where you can kind of see where the Kings really lost this. Trey Lyle was just terrible. Malik Monk was bad. And Davion Mitchell is just not really panned out to be very good. I'll just be honest. I just don't see it with him, and that was a bad pick. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. You're picking that high, and you're picking a guy that's like 5'11" or whatever he is. I mean, as good a defender as he can be at times, at the end of the day, you're 5'11" or 6 foot or whatever he is. He's not big. And so it puts just a hard cap on what you are. So that was just a bad draft pick by the Kings, but oh well. They're playing well, and it doesn't really matter, I guess, at this point. Let's see. That's all I got for the Kings. Let's talk about the Jazz. All right, guys. So as far as the Jazz go, I don't know what to say at this point. I could not believe when I checked my phone after. By the way, my comp league team lost as well. I really would love to take the reins. I'm an assistant coach on that team. Man, I want to take the reins coaching that team. But anyways, I get out of the comp league where we just got kind of smoked. And I check my phone and the Jazz win the game, and I couldn't believe it. At this point, I just don't know. At this point, I mean, we'll do the tank thing, but the Jazz have the 14th pick in the lottery, and I guess, it's a good draft, so they'll get a nice player, and maybe that's all it takes, because here's what oh my gosh, Casey Wallace. I guess if the Jazz get Casey Wallace, I'm pretty excited. So who knows? Maybe the Jazz just get Casey Wallace, and we're happy. But here's the thing. And I tweeted about it. If you follow my Twitter account, it was basically watching just a broken man accepting his fate and accepting what went wrong. Honestly, where do I start with the thoughts tonight? At the beginning of the season, I was frustrated because I felt like Ochai Agbaji should play more. Well, he's playing more. I got what I wanted. And look what he does tonight. 57% from the field, 6 for 10 from 3. He scored 27 points, and these were not garbage time minutes. He was the leading scorer for the Jazz tonight when they needed him most. It looks like they took a rebound away from him. He had 5 rebounds. I don't care what the NBA says. 3 assists, and these were big-time buckets when it mattered most. And Ochai Agbaji just stepped up big time. But here's the thing. I guess at this point, if you can just get a good player in this draft, and maybe the Jazz trade up, maybe they package the Wolves pick and their pick, and they can get into like the top 10, and I don't know. Bryce Sensabaugh? I don't know. I don't care for Bryce. I don't know. Maybe he's good. I don't know. I really like Cason Wallace. We saw in the tournament he's awesome. But anyways, I guess at this point, I'm just going to not worry about it because every single time they lose, every single time they win, it hurts my feelings. Every single time. It just bums me out and ruins my night. By the way, today sucked for me. I had to work in Salt Lake today, and I live near Ogden. My commute was 3 hours today. 3 hours I sat in my car. And then I get home. I have to go coach. We lose the game. I come back. The Jazz win this game. Have you ever read the book Alexander and the Horrible, Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Day? Well, that was my afternoon. It was James's very, very bad, terrible, no good, very bad evening. But I guess at this point, I'm kind of accepting what the Jazz are. And here's what the Jazz are. They have the best coach in the NBA. He just is. I don't care. We tell the truth on here. On this channel, we tell the truth. Okay? I tell the truth on Twitter, and I tell the truth here. And here's what I'd like to say. I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong. And what I'm not wrong about right now is that Will Hardy's the best coach in the NBA. He just is. He does everything you want in a coach. He schemes. He has incredible schemes. He implements different schemes game by game, and they work. Last game we saw it. He absolutely demolished Joe Maz from Boston. Joe Mazzulla got coached out of his boots by Will Hardy. Jason Tatum, 15 points last game on terrible efficiency, and the Boston Celtics could not figure out a way to score on this Utah Jazz team, who is trying to lose. They're trying to lose. If you think they're not trying to lose, you're incorrect. Danny Ainge is trying to lose. But Will Hardy is that good, so he schemes. 2, his team plays their hearts out. Now, I think there's a mix when you talk about players playing their hearts out. You have a mix of things. 1, the coach gets that motivation with these guys, 100%. But 2, you've got guys on this team competing. For the first time in like 4 or 5 years, the Jazz actually went out and brought in guys that had something to prove. Lauri Markkanen, Collin Sexton, all these guys that were cast-offs. All the rookies that got traded to the Jazz, their teams didn't want them. So they come to the Jazz, they have something to prove. So basically you have this team that comes in, a bunch of guys that said, hey, I have not been coached well in the past. I have not been given a fair shot in the past. I'm going to prove it now. So that's part of the front office. And by the way, I hope Jazz fans have learned something this year, because the last 3-4 years where we were on this channel begging for trades, begging to trade Bojan Bogdanovic. How many times did I beg to trade Bojan Bogdanovic on this channel? I've lost subscribers over it. The Bojan stands are all gone, but we begged for it. Why? Because he didn't do anything for you on the defensive end. There was no impact. Instead, the Jazz, what they did, they brought in guys that had something to prove. They did not feel like they deserved a starting spot like Bojan felt, or Donovan, or Rudy. And I love Rudy, and I love Donovan. But those guys felt like they just deserved their spots. And if they didn't get it, they pouted and complained and whined in the locker room. Joe Ingles, too, by the way. Well, guess what? Now you have a culture of the Jazz with a new head coach. They have, literally, Jordan Clarkson's not playing. The only guy who played tonight that was playing before on the Jazz from last season with that garbage culture was Doak. And Doak had a monster night. Doak has something to prove. So anyways, the Jazz culture now, created by Danny Ainge and Will Hardy, is one, and you got to give especially huge credit to Will Hardy, is you have to earn your keep. You have to earn your spot on the floor. And if you do and you keep it, then you play. But if you do not play defense, if you do not what you're supposed to do, then you do not play. And guess what? The Jazz have an incredible culture now. The thing everyone's worried about. It's incredible. All it is that if you play hard, you play well, you succeed, you will get minutes. If you don't, toodaloo. And you can bet this offseason there's going to be even more changes. So that's one of the things that gives me hope as someone who, and it's not as someone who knows that, the right move for the Jazz was to get draft picks. That's just the right move. Anyone who disagrees with that is wrong. You're wrong. But the fact is Will Hardy's too good. These players have been coached up. They've been put in a place to succeed with Will Hardy's schemes. They feel comfortable. They understand what they're supposed to do at all moments on the floor, and then they make plays. So you have Will Hardy who schemes. He gets everything out of these players. He's set up a culture of winning, and also his players love him, and he loves this team. He cares. He absolutely cares. He is giving everything he's got, every single game. It doesn't matter. And that's all you can hope for. You have a perfect coach, a perfect one. Honestly, there were people on Twitter. I want to go back to, I don't have the time, the pettiness level is too high, but people complaining about things from Will Hardy earlier in the season is absolutely a joke. Absolutely a joke. He's the best coach in the league. Who's better? Who's better than Will Hardy? You could argue, who's the Miami Heat coach? Spoelstra? Maybe. Will Hardy had this team playing. Think about this. Will Hardy had this team as the number 1 seed in the Western Conference after 3 weeks. It took 0 time for them to get to that level. They were bought in, ready to go, coached up from day 1. It's crazy. And the other aspect of Will Hardy's coaching is the development. I don't care what anyone says. Quinn Snyder sucked at development. All the good development coaches under Quinn went to the Knicks. And we saw what happened to the Knicks. They got better. Quinn Snyder sucked at it. Will Hardy has turned Ochai Agbaji, Walker Kessler into core foundational pieces. My head's itching. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I can't get over how good Will Hardy is. I can't get over it. He's so good. Honestly, if the Jazz wanted a good pick this year, they should have just kept Quinn, which is kind of what they tried to do. They tried to keep him. Thankfully, it didn't happen because guess what? The whole thing with Ime Udoka happened, and Will Hardy would be coaching the Boston Celtics. So now it's basically, would you like a good draft pick, which Quinn Snyder most definitely would have gotten them. Quinn Snyder, who sucks, would have gotten them. Although by the way, he was not going to be the coach next year. I shouldn't even talk about that. That was not going to happen. That was not going to happen. There was no way that was happening. But anyways, it's a good thing Will Hardy's here because he could have been coaching this Boston Celtics team. And you know what? If the Jazz don't get a good draft pick, I guess it is what it is. It is what it is. But the Jazz have done a good job with identifying talent. I mean, they liked Walker Kessler and Ochai Agbaji, and they've turned out to be incredible. And they picked up Simone Fontecchio, who looks like a legit piece going forward. I don't know if Fontecchio is going to get a ton of minutes next year. Who knows? But that three-point shot is real, and he's turned into he's an NBA player. Will Hardy figured it out with him. A month ago, he didn't look like he was an NBA player. Now he's looking like he can help. I mean, he makes big plays, and he scares me. As a person who usually kind of roots for the other team because I want a good pick, Simone Fontecchio knocks down big shots. Kelly Olynyk is a better player than Bojan Bogdanovic. I said it. We say the truth here. Anyone who's complaining about Bojan's not playing for the Detroit Pistons. They weren't any better when he played. Tonight, Kelly Olynyk almost broke the triple-double streak. 19 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and he's taught and helped this team play the right way. They know how to play. They play the right way, and Kelly Olynyk is a part of that. And Danny Ainge knows it. So anyone who complains about Kelly Olynyk, don't listen to those people. Don't listen to those people. They do not know what they're talking about, okay? I don't care. Not everything is fantasy basketball and basketball reference, okay? Sometimes you want players on the floor that teach your young guys how to play the game the right way. And Kelly Olynyk plays the game the right way. He's absolutely a guy you want on the floor. He's a connector. He can shoot the ball, by the way. You want him to shoot threes? Look at that. 4 for 6 from 3. He was 6 for 11 from the field. They needed Kelly Olynyk tonight to win the game, and he absolutely did what they needed him to do. But at the same time, he grabbed 10 rebounds and threw out 8 assists. Incredible night from Kelly Olynyk. He's been incredible since the trade deadline. Now, can we talk about Walker Kessler and what he's become? 10 points, 8 rebounds, and he was probably the best player on the floor. Alexander Tufts, I'm not off the tank note train, but at this point, what can you do? When you've got Chris Dunn and Taylor Horton-Tucker and rookies all over the floor, Simone Fontecchio, and you're beating teams, I don't know what you do. If I'm Danny Ainge, I don't know. I'm resting Markkanen now. At this point, what am I supposed to do? I'm not off tank note, but I'm going to just enjoy it. Because what else can you do? I don't want to live in sadness, I guess. But anyways, Walker Kessler was the best player on the floor tonight. He just dominated. 4 for 10 for Domantas Sabonis, who's going to be like second or third team All-NBA, possibly first team. I think he's second or third team. And he went 4 for 10 tonight because of this guy. Walker Kessler's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. 30 minutes. And he just crushed it. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 5 blocks. He absolutely dominated on the defensive end. And I don't care. I was in an argument. I mean, not an argument, a discussion. He's better than Rudy Gobert. Why? Because on the offensive end, he has good hands. And if you throw him the ball near the basket and there's a mismatch, he will score. So other teams can't take advantage of him. He's so good. And in this day and age, the last 2-3 years, you got to have a good center. You've got the Jokic's, the Embiid's, the Bam Adebayos out there. I mean, you go out there and there's lots of good centers. Al Horford's and Robert Williams for the Celtics, and you've got to have someone that can cover Brook Lopez and Giannis. You need a big-time rim-protecting center, and the Jazz got one. He's awesome. And who knows, maybe he can shoot the three with time, and then you get something even more incredible. Like a more athletic Brook Lopez. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. So just the impressive play of Walker Kessler is something that we should just appreciate, and he is an absolute core piece of the future. And when he plays, the Jazz win. That's just kind of what he does. I'm kind of curious. Let's go see what his record is as a starter. Can we check that out? So let's just see. So let's look. Game started. Oh, you know what's so annoying about basketball references? They don't tell you the win-loss. I wish they'd say the win-loss here. Does it look like there's more W's than L's? I don't know. I bet I'll have to look that up. Doggone it. Basketball reference. Be better, basketball reference. But anyways, he's fantastic, and as a starter, he's just been remarkable, and he looks more and more comfortable every night. And honestly, when the Jazz play a team that goes small, he dominates. Just absolutely dominates. Like he did against Boston, he crushed Boston. And tonight, you know, Domantas Sabonis plays center. He's an undersized center, and Kessler crushed him. He crushed him. So unbelievable, impressive stuff from Kessler. Ochai Agbaji. This is phenomenal. 27 points, leading scorer, plus 14, and he was hitting big-time shots to end this game. The thing that was so cool about this, remember when the season started, he wasn't playing and how timid he was. He was so timid and scared and not quite sure of what he wanted to do. The difference between the first week of Ochai Agbaji to tonight hitting big-time shots against like the number 2 or 3, whatever they are in the Western Conference team, the Sacramento Kings. Are you kidding me? The confidence that has been given to him is not something he would have had last year with last year's coach. I can promise you that. Last year's coach was not a very good coach at coaching up guys. This coach for this Jazz team allows these players to get some belief in themselves. And Ochai Agbaji absolutely has that. 27 points on 60% shooting from 3, 57%. And let's just watch. I mean, some of these were like pull-up threes, like tough shots. Oh, wrong one. Let's see. Where is he? I clicked the wrong thing. 6 makes. Why is it doing this? This one right here was the big time one. Not available. All right, well, we don't get to watch it. But anyways, just big time shots. And they're not just him hitting corner threes, which, by the way, are just like automatic for him. In fact, can we look at his shot chart? At least we can do that. Let's look at his shot chart. So here, can you see that? My head's in the way. Look at this. He's shooting it from all over the floor. To begin the year, it was just this. But look at that, 75%. 3 for 4 from corner 3. It's a layup for this guy. He shoots at 60%. I think he's, I don't know where you can find that second spread. I don't know where it says, but I believe he's like the top 5 at least corner 3-point shooter. It's a layup. It's crazy. Tonight, 75% from the corner. But that's not what's impressive. Look at this. He's taking it from every spot on the floor. That is huge. And I know he had a little bit of time there where he wasn't hitting the shots. Well, guess what? Will Hardy didn't punish him for learning and growing like Quinn Snyder would. Quinn Snyder would punish you for not being perfect right away. Well, Will Hardy actually coaches you and allows you to grow. And he, we saw in Summer League that he could do some of these things, but Summer League is different than regular season NBA. Okay, Quinn. So anyways, he's hitting these, and these are like pull-up threes. Look at this, top of the key three-pointer. And he was doing things where he was driving to the rim. He had 3 assists tonight. So He's absolutely figuring it out. The stat lines are so different for Ochai Agbaji from start to finish. Start to begin the year, his points were just the corner three, which was solid. But now he's becoming a more complete player, and the ceiling's getting a little bigger, what he can be. He is absolutely becoming a core piece of what the Jazz do. And I think, honestly, what I was thinking about watching this game, I was like, you know what? Collin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson aren't playing, and I don't know if that actually doesn't help the Jazz in some ways. Ochai Agbaji is a 6'5" two guard that has nice length and athleticism. I mean, he had a block shot tonight that was unbelievable. Like, can we watch this? Why don't I have video? What's up, NBA? Anyways, he's making plays with his athleticism, his length, his leaping ability. He has such good talent. And then add in the fact that, does it have updated percentages? He's a lights-out three-point shooter at this point. And we've talked about this before. What is he, 38%? Not all three-point shooters are created the same. You have three-point shooters that are like catch-and-shoot three-point guys, like Ochai Agbaji was to start the year. He was from the corner just getting catch-and-shoot threes and knocking those down. Well, it's a different ball game when you start dribbling into a three at the top of the three-point line. When you start doing this. Oh, I don't have it up. When you start pulling into a three, and it's another ball game when you're doing it with the game on the line. And that's what he's doing now. Against Boston, he did it. Tonight, he did it against the Sacramento Kings. The growth is incredible, and you've got to give Agbaji credit, but you've also got to give a coach credit for allowing him and actually believing him in believing in the players. It makes me emotional thinking about this, that we have a coach that actually believes in all the players on the team. He's not sitting players for spite. You know, he believes in these players and he allows them to grow. And now we're seeing the fruits of it. And much to my chagrin, as someone who would like to see the Jazz tank, it's paid off huge dividends and they're much better. And so at some point if you just get a player that's a good player in this draft, Will Hardy's going to turn him into something nice. Cason Wallace needs some belief. He's playing in a stupid Kentucky system that doesn't allow guards to flourish. Put him in the Will Hardy system. Have him be our starting point guard, and holy smokes, you've got an elite defense. Holy crap. Cason Wallace, by the way, looks like Drew Holiday 2.0. Go watch, if you go to CBS, you can rewatch the games. Go watch the short replay and watch Cason Wallace. Oh my gosh, does that make me excited. But anyways, kind of back to that point, Collin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson coming back. I kind of like the idea of Talen Horton-Tucker running the point from here on out. He brings size at his position. He has that incredible 7'1" wingspan, and he's 6'4". It's bonkers. But he is playing good basketball. Let's see, 10 points tonight, but he had 4 assists, 6 rebounds, and he brings length and size at the position, and that's a big deal. It helps your defense. I know the Jazz are at 16 in the last 10 games defensively. I wonder if we could do, what's the last 5? Defensive rating. Where are the Jazz? Come on. Oh, so they've lost some. I don't know. I don't know what to think because this, oh my gosh, look at that. Last 5 games, the Utah Jazz, #1 offense in the NBA. And that's with Talen Horton-Tucker running the point. And Ochai Agbaji, that's crazy. Last 5 games, the Jazz have the #1 offense in the NBA. I'm glad I checked. Holy crap. That's with Simone Fontecchio, Kelly Olynyk, Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, Talen Horton-Tucker, and Chris Dunn, who was on a 10-day contract 3 weeks ago. He was in the G League. Look at this. And under Will Hardy, 7 for 12 from the field. Perfect from the three-point line. They left him open and he buried it. 18 points, 10 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 rebounds. Unbelievable. And you can bet he is going to be a core player on next year's team. Zach Watts, my man, my SLC dunk brother. Take a shot on GG Jackson type guy. Hardy will make sure he turns into an All-NBA player. That's the thing, is the Jazz will get 2 players in the lottery. I guess the Wolves, stupid idiot Wolves, won tonight, and they beat New York. Dumb fake losers, New York. You unserious frauds. New York. Losers. But anyways, Ryan Rupert, by the way, is a guy that people are kind of starting to look at. He has like, he's 6'6". He's from France. The Jazz have had a good, good time drafting. Look at his only plus. They don't know anything about him. His age is his plus. His age is his plus. These are all his minuses, but he's young. He fouls too much. His production isn't good. Bad field goal percentage. All of these bad, but he is young. Anyways, I've kind of seen Ryan Rupert linked to the Jazz a few times online. So I wonder if he's a guy they're looking at. I might need to go look at some Ryan Rupert tape. Because who knows? Give him to Will Hardy and he'll turn him into something incredible. Because look what happened with Chris Dunn. Out of the league, literally. And now he's a core part of the Jazz, and he has a multi-year contract, and he's probably going to be our... I mean, honestly, who would you rather play? I mean, we're just being honest tonight. Chris Dunn or Jordan Clarkson? I think you probably play Chris Dunn when you consider the defense. And when he's putting up numbers like this, I mean, he's only taking good shots. Look at this. I mean, look at this shot chart. Everything's around the basket, and he knocked down 2 threes. And he's assisting the ball. The biggest knock on Chris Dunn was that he couldn't assist the ball. Well, guess what? Not anymore. The Jazz found a guy. I think he's the 6th man. Honestly, should we just go there? They can't. I mean, maybe they do a sign and trade with Jordan Clarkson. Maybe that's what they do with one of these teams, you know. I don't know. This offseason might be bonkers for the Jazz, but maybe you sign and trade Jordan Clarkson for something, because the Jazz have huge cap space. They can bring someone in. If there's someone they really like and they want to trade him into cap space, why not? Jordan Clarkson. I mean, let's just see here. So here's the free agent tracker. I mean, if there's someone you want to trade into space, you probably could. Although I don't think the Jazz want old players. I think they want young guys. And there's not a lot. So I don't know what the Jazz are going to do. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be an interesting offseason. But, you know, Chris Dunn, I think I'd rather have him playing than Jordan Clarkson if he continues this level of play. And Collin Sexton, too. I mean, Collin Sexton's not getting assists like this. This is crazy. 10 assists. So maybe you trade Jordan Clarkson and you bring someone into the cap space, because the Jazz are going to have $60 million of cap space. And then maybe you trade Collin Sexton to somebody for another pick. And you just take, you know, you have 3 picks in this draft. You use them all. And you just develop those guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Zach, I'm the same way. Like, the Jazz have been kind of better with Chris Dunn than Jordan Clarkson in a lot of ways. You could argue. Ironically, like, you rest Jordan Clarkson to lose games, you bring in Chris Dunn, and he made the team better. Honestly, this whole thing could be blamed on Chris Dunn, to be honest. But yeah. And, you know, the other thing is there might be a guy that drops for the Jazz here, too. There's always 1 or 2 guys that drop. And Danny Ainge is one of those guys that will not let a guy drop past him. I hope not. Case and Wallace, I want him so bad. I mean, honestly, this is a pretty good draft, but if Case and Wallace is on the board and then Philip, I mean, even a center I'm happy with if he's the right guy, you know, to back up Kessler. But if you can get Case and Wallace and Jet Howard or something like that, I mean, my goodness. Taylor Hendricks is another guy. I mean, Tony Jones talks about him a lot. I think the Jazz really want, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Jazz, but they're just good. They have the best coach in the NBA. We've already talked about this. We talked about it last video. If you didn't watch it, go watch the Boston Celtics postgame. But we already looked at the numbers. Lauri Markkanen's better than Donovan Mitchell, and we got all their picks. Walker Kessler's better than Rudy Gobert, and we got all their picks. I mean, we got Lauri Markkanen and Ochai Agbaji. Lauri Markkanen's better than Donovan Mitchell, and we got Ochai Agbaji and their picks. Thank you, Cavs. And then we got a pick from the Lakers. We traded out Jared Vanderbilt and we traded Malik Beasley, who I liked those guys. and people whined that the Jazz didn't get a good enough, like a big enough return. Well, guess what? Then it opened up things for Chris Dunn. It opened up for Ochai Agbaji, Simone Fontecchio, Johnny Juzang's getting minutes, and he's knocking down shots. And the Jazz got better. It's crazy. And we got a top 4 protected pick from the Lakers. The Lakers are one of the stupidest run teams out there. Are you kidding? By the way, go listen to Zach Lowe. He dropped a note. If anyone was thinking the Jazz could have got a better deal, well, he said that the Pelicans were all in on trading for Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley, but the pick they offered wasn't as good. So for all the people that say, well, we could have got a better pick or we could have got something more, well, no, you couldn't have. You could have traded them separately and gotten 2 crappy picks, or you could trade them together and get a good pick, which they did from the Lakers. And the Lakers are going to try that season. That's what they do. So you're going to get a good... I mean, there's just no way the Lakers bottom out that season. So that was a good pick. So I don't know. I guess the Jazz just are pretty good and they might make the play-in. If you go, we're going to actually go to the NBA standings because we haven't done this for a while. But look at this. The Jazz are in the play-in. If the playoffs started today, the Jazz are in the play-in. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's just beat these loser fraud Sacramento Kings. Well, how's that for a show, guys? If you're new here, if you're here right now watching live, can you please subscribe to the channel? I would really appreciate it. It's late, I'm tired, but we do this show. And if you'd like to join the channel, become a member and support the channel, I would appreciate it. That'd be great. But it's time for we're still going to do the tankathon because that's what we do. Did I not pull it up? It's not pulled up, is it? Dang it. By the way, I'm making progress on my next animated video. It's going well. It's going well. Really quick, let me pull this up. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, like I said, like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. We do this every Jazz game, and I'm doing the animated videos. By the way, go to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's growing. I'd appreciate the follow. Things are going well on there with some of the video stuff, so I would appreciate it. All right, let's go to Tankathon. Many tears as the Jazz now sit at 14. They've won 2 in a row. Doggone it. Let's see what the Jazz get if the draft was today. Boom! Oklahoma City, the spot we were in last, they jumped to the top 3. Are you kidding me? They get Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson to pair with Chet Holmgren. Unbelievable. And Utah stays with the 14, which gets us Cason Wallace, who I'd be happy with, to be honest. You add Drew Holiday to this team, you're a pretty good team. I'd be happy with that. Would you guys be happy with that? I'd be happy with that. Let's see. Let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. These are guys that joined the channel. They're the top tier. I appreciate you so much. I know I was late tonight. I'm sorry, but I was out late coaching basketball. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's give a shout out to Baby Elliott Matson, Ezekiel Ricebi, the man from down under. See ya, Lexalator, Built for Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de Baco, Jordan the Goat, Bessrel, Just Buckets, JB, Zap Watts, my brother from SLC Dunk, TGD, Total Game Domination, Christian House Money to Haas, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, X marks the spot for Zintas, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Kakubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Also, guys, if you're into it, go to PrizePicks, use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match up to $100. Not $500, $100. Go to PrizePicks, use promo code HoopsNerd. I would appreciate it. Guys, like I said, like and subscribe to the video and the channel. Subscribe. What are you doing? I'll talk to you next time.